Okay, we're here with Kevin again. We're shooting some more stuff that he's got that's a lot of fans probably haven't seen. So, Kevin, why don't you show us what you got? We're talking about GNR books today.
Right, so we all know about the biographies or autobiographies that have been released in the last 5 years by various members. We know about some of the more recent books. Stephen Adler's mother wrote a book. Craig Duswalt did a book. Who was the guy that did the book that came out that was written?
McWall?
Yeah.
And then Stephen Davis did the other
Stephen
one.
Davis,
Yeah.
Watch You Bleed.
Yeah. Is it any good?
I thought it was a pretty well done book, gotta say. I mean, I thought it was pretty well done, but anything I enjoy reading on the band, if I can learn something new, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I want to just take a moment to kind of show you some books that haven't been as widely circulated. Some of these are 20 years, 25 years old. This was, I think, the first book that actually came out on the band. I think this was 1988. I can check inside the sleeve, but this was Danny Sugarman's book on the band, and he took an interesting approach, kind of making some analogies between Guns N' Roses and the Doors, and talking a little bit about mysticism and things like that. But he tells some great stories, and obviously I haven't read the book in many years. And I do know the author has since died. This is Danny Sugarman, who wrote he was a co-author on No One Gets Out of Here Alive about the Doors, which was a huge book at the time. I'm just trying to look at the year just to show you. This was
There is a Danny Sugarman interview from years ago on MTV talking about Guns N' Roses.
This is 91, so yeah. I thought it was a little later than I thought.
And I think Axl did talk about Danny Sugarman in some interviews, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite pictures because this is very rare. I've never seen this republished in any other book. So you got to realize these books are special because they have books that have not been, or they have pictures that have not been republished. Some of them in over 20 years. And this is from the Stardust Ballroom. And this was an early performance from '85. You can see how few people are in the audience and they're just sitting around, mostly friends and girlfriends.
Right.
So that's the Danny Sugarman book. And then this is a book on the band that came out. Again, I think most of these were late 80s. This says published 1990. So this is a book about the band here.
I had that growing up too.
You had that growing up?
I misplaced it though.
Yeah. So we have a visitor here. This is really cool. I mean, these close-ups are pretty cool. And again,
close-ups of the tattoos. It's funny. Somebody said, "Oh, you should do a true story about the tattoos," and I'm like, "Well, I need some more better photos of them."
Absolutely. So if you're a trivia buff, you guys know where these pictures were taken? This is from the photo shoot at El Compadre Mexican restaurant on Sunset Boulevard, which still exists, the restaurant. And you can still go to the GNR booth at El Compadre, which is actually just a few blocks away from Cantor's Deli. Mm-hmm. All right, and then again, this is another one that I think might be a little less rare, and came out a little later, but again, it's still of the original 5. This would be around circa 1990, I'd say. And yeah, just some incredible pictures here.
So have these ever been republished?
So to my knowledge, the books haven't, and many of the pictures have not.
Maybe show some of the photos from there.
It hasn't, I've kept
that
this.
photo that's all over the internet, that photo.
Yeah. But again, I have I have magazines that have unpublished photos, and I think this does have some.
Did you buy that, or it came to your house?
Bought it a long time ago.
That's excellent.
This is a rare picture because it hasn't been published, I don't think, in many years. It's a Robert John picture, and this is from the recording of Appetite for Destruction, and it's one of the few pictures of the recording sessions.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times on Google, but I don't think it's as common.
Let me just find for you guys the year on it. I think it's 1989, so this was definitely from the 80s. And then I'll show you a few more, and then we'll close out the session. Again, you probably could get some of these online, but you may not know that they all exist to even know what to order. This is another one. This is some pictures. I think this is from England, I believe.
Marquee shows, maybe?
But look at the clarity of the pictures.
Yeah, the colors are really good.
This is from the Marquee shows, I believe.
Yeah, those are Marquee shows. I recognize those photos.
Some of the 87 shows are... He's here with us.
Waiting for you.
And then you see, here's a nice one. Right. Well, many of the pictures we've seen, not all of them, is from one of the award ceremonies, right?
Yeah.
I get them all confused, but
yeah,
it's a nice one of Axl in a fur coat.
Yeah. You think he still wears fur, even though he's like a huge probably not nice animal rights
I
activist?
think that's Duff with Mandy. I think that's Mandy's
That's his first wife.
I think so. That's a great one of Duff there. I think that's at the Music Awards. There you go.
No, 1990 Music Awards. I did an episode on that not too long ago.
Right, so this one, let's take a guess. I'm going to guess this is 91. Came out 89, so this is another one from the 80s. So you got to remember they broke in 88, is when they really broke.
So people are trying to cash in and write books and,
so, these are no longer published. I've got the Use Your Illusion 1991 tour book. This I remember buying at the LA Forum show, which was that was in 91. I think Shannon came on and did.
Shannon Hoon, he came out and did.
Of course, Dizzy was still. Izzy
was still in the band.
Still in the band. And see, it's Duff GNR 91. It's not a real autograph, but I like it because it tells you what year it's from as well. It's got some great pictures of Izzy that are not commonly published. You're not going to find a lot of pictures of Izzy with his tattoos, and you're talking about the tattoos. This is not the clearest one. So this is more pictures from the 1991 Use Your Illusion tour.
If you maybe want to hold it up a bit more,
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I'm here.
This is the
Hey.
Slash, and then these are the
Those are all the guys on the road crew who
all the
worked
guys
on
on
the
the
tour.
road crew.
The sound engineer before he was fired.
And what's nice is that this is with Izzy, and so it features Izzy as well.
Yeah.
So that's just probably a fairly rare item. 1991. It's kind of scuffed up.
Kind of scuffed up.
But it's pretty old too. The last thing I wanted to share is an item that is probably at this point one of a kind. I don't think there's any others. This is a magazine that back in the club days, LA magazines. There were a lot of LA magazines, and there's one called Rock City News, and it used to be called Scratch. And this is an issue from May 1986, and it's got Axl from one of their club gigs on the front, and it's got a review inside of the shows and some pictures, which I'll show you in a second. It's not the highest quality, but it's kind of vintage. It's a vintage '86. It's like a LA scrap magazine, they used to call it. And you can see like the strippers, and that's a good one of Axl.
For you guys out there who remember me talking during the podcast about Axl at the LA Coliseum shows with the Stones, getting drug out inside the bass amp crate.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the picture. This is how they got him out of the LA show. After 1 in a Million came out, and he eluded the press by not wanting to talk about it. He got in the bass cabinet, he closed it, and he walked out the door. And security walked right past the press with Axl in the cabinet. I knew it existed, I just had to find it.
Here's some more pictures just from the spread from this magazine here. But again, this is just a local magazine covering all the shows like Poison, Faster Pussycat, Rat. They even got the bikini contest strippers, and so this is kind of a really rare magazine from '86. All right, guys. Obviously, there's always more, but that's just a little flavor of what we have to show you. Some rare Guns N' Roses memorabilia, some old books and magazines from the '80s and early '90s.